So my name is Alyssa Osterhout, and if you remember from my introduction speech, I'm not really a girly girl. Obviously not. I live in Arkansas, and it's deer season right now. So I'm going to teach you how to track deer. Whether you are an avid hunter who would love to put a champion rack on your wall, or you like shooting with only a camera and you're an animal lover, these tips will help you learn how to track the deer that you need. Camouflaging includes clothing, smell, and sound. Some of the signs we will discuss tracks are left behind is deer rubs and scrapes and their bedding area. The most important thing about tracking deer is camouflage. You have to stay hidden. And so you need to wear clothing that'll match your environment and your surroundings to stay hidden from the deer and act like another animal that's just in the woods. Othmar Vorringer writes in his Whitetail Deer Passion blog, Stalking the Forgotten Art, that the most common problem in tracking or stalking is speed. Most hunters go too fast. If you're moving half a mile in 30 minutes or in an hour, you're going way too fast. Deer key in on movement, and if you see something move that doesn't look right, they're gone. They're leaving. To track a deer's slow, quiet movements are very important. You should take a couple steps, stop, and look around. Slowly though. You don't want to look around too fast because you're ruining the movement. You want to move a lot like a deer would, cautious and slow, looking at their surroundings. In order to blend in with the surroundings, you want to wear clothing that camouflages you. In the November 2010 issue of Bow Hunting magazine, Jace Mann gives some great tips on camouflage in his article, Stalking Whitetails. He has the camouflage clothing patterns need to match the vegetation in early session. So in early session you need the brighter greens, and in November you need the darker greens because everything's decaying, and like grays and browns for the vegetation. Once you have your camouflage picked out, you need to make sure that your scent doesn't take away from the outdoor scent. So you can't, when you wash your camouflage, you can't use anything unscented. You can't wear deodorant or perfumes or colognes. You have to keep everything completely unscented. Any smelly shampoos or anything, even to put in your hair, will not work. Okay, so now that you're camouflaged and your scent is covered, there's still a chance that you could be walking around in the woods and happen to step on something that doesn't sound quite right to the deer. And so that's when you can use a turkey call or a deer call to cover your human track and your human sound. There are many different ways to find deer sightings, and one is deer pellets. This one's doe, and you can tell so many different things about when you look at the pellets. You can tell whether it's a doe or a buck. You can tell the size of the animal and the sex of the animal. And if you get close enough, you can also tell what they've been eating at that time and some others, and the time that they've taken their. In reading Whitetail Deer Signs, T.R. Michaels says that bucks begin to rub their antlers on trees in the fall as they prepare for rut. Rubbing helps remove the velvet from the buck's antlers and strengthens in its neck for the sparring matches it might have during the rut. Michael also goes on to tell us that the buck rubs are made from thrashes trees in its antlers and forehead, removing the bark from the trees. For those who might not know, rut is the season when the bucks mate with the does. A scrape is similar to the rub that a buck makes, except instead of rubbing his antlers on the bark of the tree, he paws and scrapes the ground and tree's branches. In both cases, the buck is leaving his scent in to show his dominance and to attract the does. When you see fresh rubs and scrapes, you know this is an area that the deer is moving through and will track very well in the camouflage. You may just see your deer. The last tracking tip is the bedding area. You want to find where they lay at. And T.R. Michaels comments that the beds are large ovals where the dirt, grass, and leaves have been pressed down. The size of the oval tells you if it is a buck, doe, or fawn. Where you find the beds will be affected by the weather and safety of the area. They will usually be in some dense brush in order to stay hidden. Okay, so now that we've covered all of the basics of how to track a deer, which was camouflage, scent and sound, and also tracking the pellets and the scrapes and rubs and the bedding area, remember I told you in the beginning about that even if you're not a hunter, you will still enjoy tracking a deer. Well, this last item is just for you. Instead of a gun or a compound bow, you can use a trail camera. When you head to the woods, you can take this trail camera with you. When you see signs of deer, you can mount the trail camera to the tree and shoot some pictures.